my big eye-opening moment was God telling me that I need to look in the mirror and change me, because I was constantly trying to get my wife to change and be like me. You shouldn't care what other people's thoughts are. You shouldn't care about this. I don't care about this. I don't let those kind of things bother me. Like your emotional roller coasters. If you notice, I don't have emotional roller coasters, so you should be like me. And it made me realize I would have been married, and this is the hindsight, been married to a dude.
Yeah.
And I used to tell her things like, you wouldn't survive if you had to go through really hard shit. And the amount of men I've coached who complain about their wife and how they wouldn't survive if they had to go through hard shit. Now, again, I used to say those things 8 years ago, but then I approached them with this, and I think about this now. It's like, why would I ever want my wife to be able to survive through really hard shit? I want my wife to be fucking feminine, a princess, soft, peaceful. I don't need her to be a fucking warrior. I'm not out there looking for a Zulu warrior queen by any means. And so I had to look in the mirror and I had to work on me, 100% me. And I had to change myself. And I think that's what God was telling me all along, the whole time, through her, because a wife is a mirror. She's that reflection of us and points out like some of our inadequacies and maybe even our insecurities. And I believe it was you and your wife. God shows her the image of who you could be. She's already seen it, and we just haven't seen it. And that
Hmm.
was the same thing with me and my wife. All the things that she wanted me to tweak and that I needed to tweak that I eventually started working on was God was like, hey, here's this image of what he can be. Because we know that women marry a man based off safety and security and potential, on his potential, which Harvard, they have a relationship department and they've done a study since the 60s. And call me, I don't know, traditional, but the results haven't changed in almost 80 years. Women want a man who provides safety and security and a man with potential.
Hmm.
And when she sees our potential and we don't even see it, we got to look in the mirror and, and do work and be humble.
Yeah. That's where the problem comes in for me oftentimes is that I have to remember that those instances are actually God putting her in that heart space to challenge me, to bring out the best in me. I have to remind myself and look back at conflict with my wife as an invitation from God to examine my own heart and my own life and my own um everything. And it jams me up quite a bit because I take things personally. I think most men do. I think, for me too, my belief is very high, and belief, in terms of the Clifton Strength Assessment, I'm not sure if you've taken that with Bill, but belief for me is basically, um, equality, fairness, right? The big jam up in my home is that you have a standard for talking to people that you don't uphold yourself. So when we have conflict, she expects a very soft landing space all the time, no matter what. And that's an invitation from God saying, "Hey, can you be what I am? Can you lead like me?" All right? Well, when there's conflict and the reverse happens, it's rarely a soft landing space. It's rarely kindness and empathy, and that jams me up. But again, I go back to that's an invitation for God to say, He's trying. I think what God is communicating to me is stop needing your wife to be some sort of fulfillment center for you and use me instead.
Mhm.
That's really hard for men, right? She wants it from me. I'm to deliver. And I think that's the expectation from God. And then I need that from her. and she does not deliver. And I think that's an invitation from God to say, I'm not asking her to do that for you. I'm going to do that for you. But if you don't trust me and you don't stop being a little baby when there's conflict and you don't get what you want, come to me. I will help you. I will sustain you. I will speak life in you. I will prop you up. I think I'm still wrestling with that. And I think a lot of guys are going to find that that resonates with them. And they have to change the mindset. I included have to change the mindset of, if I'm not getting what I think that I want from my wife, is there any possibility that that's an invitation from God saying, yeah, but I'm going to give it to you if you ask me. I'm going to be that for you. God can breathe more life into you than your wife ever will by saying nice things to you. All right. And then my last point about this is, I've tasted moments of it where my wife does, because my wife is very, very hard on people in general. She just expects the most.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's because more often than not, she gives the most. So she expects and yeah, dude, I think it's a total invitation for men to step back and go, listen, you have to give without the expectation of getting, and understand that God will give you everything that you need if you can do that. If you can manage to pull that off, if you can give of yourself without any expectation back and serve your wife, and then when you need something, go and beg God. Don't beg your wife. I've caught glimpses like you probably have of my wife being really great, like saying some really words of affirmation, Jesse, for me are my way of feeling like I'm on the right track. And I need a little bit of affirmation every now and again. Again, that's an invitation. God's going, yeah, but come to me so I can give it to you. Because
Yeah.
she's not going to. She's not going to. And I think he's trying to squeeze out of me this need for other people to fill my cup so that he can fill the space. But if I try and put other people there, he has no room to come in and work and fill space. So he's wringing it out in every other aspect of my life so that I'm fully dependent on him alone and not anybody else, because they're not going to do anything for me, truthfully.
Yeah, and it reminds me of 1 Corinthians 11:3. Christ is the head of man is the head of his wife. And I'm going to tie this in to what you're talking about. Us men, we want to be respected and desired by our wives,
Yes.
right? So that respect flows up when we are in alignment. It flows from our wife to us. And then Christ, he just wants our respect. So we respect him. And then love flows down. Christ gives us love that we need, because we don't seek love from her, but then we give her the love that she needs from us. So when we are in alignment, so that soft landing you're talking about, we provide her the soft landing. He provides us the soft landing
Oh,
when we
that's
were
it.
in
That's
that
it.
alignment.
That's it. 100.
Yeah.
You're nailing, guys. When you're listening to this, understand that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it's supposed to work. If you're the problem though is that we pour from an empty cup because we never allow God to be that for us. So he can't, because it won't, like a river won't run upstream, right? It runs downstream. So like we're expecting her to be something for us that God is trying to be. And so there will always be conflict. If we try and put people in the place of God where he wants to belong in our lives, I think we're always going to experience friction. It'll always be hot. It'll always hurt, because that's not how it works. Men are trying to take a river and flip it around and have it run upstream. That's not the design. I think so. You nailed it. That's exactly. Can you even say that again?
Yeah. So, and we got to think of if we think of three basketballs stacked on top of one another, or like like a um, snowman, right? The three balls on top of each other. Christ is the head of man, as man is the head of his wife, right? Love flows down, respect flows up. That soft landing is going to flow up as well. And that stuff only happens when we're truly in alignment. with Christ and our wife, if we're in true
Mhm.
alignment. It's when we become out of alignment, we abandon our post, that we want her to make up for something that really we should be going to him for.
Mhm.
And then
You
it
just
puts
nailed
us,
it.
yeah, it puts us in an imbalance, right? And then we're putting this weight on her, like you said, to fulfill something, to be there for something that we need, when really he's calling us, like, no, that's my job, not hers, right? That's your job for her and my job for you. And we got to stay in that alignment.
Yeah, that's a big time topic. I hope guys are gonna listen to that and understand that because it's a moment of reflection for myself. I know that other men will this will resonate with them, but life happens, and sometimes or most often, the thing that first gets cut out is your time with God. That's what traditionally happens. When life gets crazy, the thing you cut first is your time with God. And what I've noticed is I have not cut my time, but I have checked the box. There's been in my life, I don't cut God out anymore. I don't like skip, but I half-ass it. And I think what I am experiencing as of this moment is the byproduct of that. And it's nice enough though that I still because I'm still spending time with him, I'm checking the box, I'm still spending time. He's pinging my heart going, "You see, this is not sustainable. This works for a time, buddy. Like, don't listen. Not every day are you gonna read the Bible and have a massive revelation. Not every day are we gonna talk and you're gonna have some mind-blowing experience. But if you go too many days without there being some real intention behind it, you're gonna miss what I have for you." So that is what's pinging my heart. Such a great topic, such a great conversation because it's a moment for me to realign and go, men have to stop putting a burden on their wife or their wives that they can't carry. It's like loading them down with too much. And my ruck is light right now and hers is heavy. It's like, man, like, don't you look at your wife and go, there's an imbalance. Give me some of the weight. I got to remember I'm the man. Give me some of that weight. And if I get tired, I'm not going to ask you to swap with me. I'm going to beg God to give me the strength.
Mhm.
Now we're
Exactly.
talking. Now we're talking.
Yeah. And so when it says that we are crucified in Christ and he now lives in us, we don't need to reach into ourself for that strength because he is in us. We don't need
Mhm.
that, like, quote unquote self motivation, right? Or that self discipline, because we can lean on him. And then, second thing, when we talk about that weight, this is an exercise that I literally did yesterday with my wife. And I try to do it every couple months. I don't do it every week by any means, or even every month. It's like once a quarter, once every 2 quarters, or every 2 months at the earliest. We'll go on a walk holding hands. I usually make sure she's on a good time of her cycle, like she's a peak cycle right now. And I'll say, hey, what are the top 3 places where you feel most safe and secure? And it has nothing to do with me, just in general. And then I always ask, what are the top 3 where you feel the least safe and secure? Because I know that that's some sort of weight, some sort of emotional anxiety trigger for her. And then it allows me to protect her in those moments. And I can give you a couple examples of what those were. 6 months ago, one of them was when our sons aren't listening to her. And it's because, one, she's a mom. Two, we homeschool our kids and she's their quote unquote teacher from an academic standpoint. So when they're not listening, she goes, am I failing them by taking on too much? If they're not even listening to me, how can I be the one who's teaching them, etc. Right? And then it starts to snowball from there. So anytime I would hear my boys not listen, I would call them into my office, talk to them, or I'd go out there and address my boys. And now again, they're boys; they don't have a frontal cortex, so it takes about 4 to 5 times to ask them to do anything for it to even register.
Mhm.
So I give them that grace and understanding, but I don't expect her to, because she doesn't need me to explain why they are not listening every time, right? How can I just protect her? Because that was one of her biggest things. That thing has now gone and passed. That's not even one of her top 3 anymore. right? There's always going to be a new top 3 of where she feels least safe. But then how do we protect them in those moments? And we're not just like, well, that sucks to suck. Like that's your problem. Like I'm here to protect my wife as much as I can and help
Mhm.
guide her through things and just be aware of what those are. So you can be like, okay, I got to deal with my in-laws more because her father passed. Right. So I help my mother-in-law and talk to her 100 times more than I've ever because she needs help. Right. And that stress is one of the places where she feels the least safe and secure is around things with her mom now. So it's like, all right, I'll help with this. I'll sell the cars. I'll sell the boats. I'll help her with XYZ items.
But
And it,
but that's the thing though, you're stepping up and into a place of leadership. That's to get back into leading, that's what leadership looks like. And, for anybody listening, we're not two guys sitting up here saying that we've got it pegged. Like we don't have this nailed down. We don't always execute. There are times in this mission where we fail. However, I think the big connection for you and I is that our conviction from the spirit is what's driving you and I. I think whenever there's an imbalance or wherever there's a veering off the path, now the conviction is so heavy in me that I spend a lot less time thinking, why are you this way? And I look in the mirror and I go, God, there's no way that I'm going to survive this. I have to have your help. I will crawl over broken glass for you to just whisper and tell me what to do right now. And that changes your mindset because and I hate that. Like, I hate that whole idea, like mindset. It's such a bullshit, hokey thing. But what it does is, to me, mindset is the same as heart posture. That's how I look at it now. It changes my mindset slash heart posture into reflection on who I am. Where am I failing? Where am I? Why do we seem to have the same conversations? Maybe because I'm acting like a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old without a prefrontal cortex. Like it's taking multiple times for this to register. So it's a calling back to that's where I want to make sure my job on my side of the house in social media and what I'm doing for a living is trying to get men to understand that the quicker you get into this and you like tether yourself to it, it'll talk to you. So the more I'm dealing with these types of things, God is inviting me back to the word, inviting me back to sit with him and let the spirit work and talk to me. And it reminds me every time you're asking someone to do something that is God's job and that will always fail. Bill said something to me the other day. He said, completely different topic, but it resonates. If you ask the Bible questions the Bible doesn't ask, you're always going to get the wrong answer.
yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
So if you ask somebody to do a job that they don't do, it's always going to be a failure. That's not how it works. If my wife asked me to breastfeed my daughter, I would fail. I would not be able to do that.
Hmm.
So then why am I going to ask my wife to be a soft landing spot for me? That's not her design. The truth is, I don't need her to be. I need God to be, but I'm too much of a fucking coward to go to him and beg him. My ego says, I don't know, like I don't maybe not today or you don't have time or my mind, it's something that's usually more subconscious. I'm just focused on other things where God is like, dude, I would help you, but you're just being retarded right now.
Hmm.
Humble yourself and come to me so that I can help you fix this. So, guys, I think it's more so like stop stop asking your wife to do a job that God is supposed to be doing in your life, and I think the result you'll be happier with it. I think you'll be happier with that result. God wants to lead your life, and I think that men just we don't I don't know if it's like we don't accept it, we don't see it, we don't believe it. Um, but I've experienced it, so I know it's true. I know it's true.
Man, Don't expect her to do a job she's not designed for. That can apply to so many things in the household. I mean, from the
So
happy
many
wife, happy
things.
life
Yeah.
pops into my head, because that's total bullshit. You're
Well, yeah,
essentially
it's
putting all the
100%.
decision making, all the weight on her and just fucking sitting back and, happy wife, happy life. It's like, bro, that's fucking
Do you know where that comes from? That comes from apathy because men made up that little hokey ass nomenclature for if I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna joke and say, "Oh, happy wife, or happy wife, happy life." That's just such a punch out of responsibility. That's such an apathetic thing to say because really the design is that you're supposed to be making a lot of decisions because you've shown yourself to be a good decision maker and she trusts you, right? I've had to battle back and I'm still working through. I've made so many poor decisions that she has to take over and make decisions. And therefore, and in her doing that, we think that that makes them happy. It does not. It actually annoys them. But if you are caught in the crosshairs of you've spent a lot of your life making bad decisions, now you recognize that and you want to start making decisions, be careful. You can't just jump in the driver's seat of that because she's going to look at you like you're fucking crazy, man. Like, I don't trust you. So you're not
yep.
making decisions. It's going to take you, it could take you a lifetime of rebuilding that. In the process, though, you're going to slowly take a little bit of weight from her, a little bit, little micro decisions every day, micro decision here, micro decision there. Once she can trust you with micro decisions, just the same way God says, if I can trust you with a little, I can trust you with a lot.
Yes.
How are you going to be blessed financially if God can't trust you with the little bit of finances that he gives you? How are you going to be blessed in business if he can't trust you with the little bit of business that he gives you? You know, so for men, we can't hang around the other dudes that say happy wife, happy life. That's a lazy husband. That's a guy that doesn't want to do what it takes to earn the trust of his wife so he can take over, so he can say, man, I know my wife's not happy about this decision, but we both prayed about it. And we said, if God says this, this is what we're doing. I know she's not happy, but this is what we're doing.
When there was a time in your relationship where she was leading in all avenues, did she ever, from a maybe wearing a mask, maybe socially, did she ever was like proud of being the boss in the household?
That's a really good question. I don't think she was ever proud. I think she was happy to know that she was capable, but I think it annoyed her more. I think it annoyed her. Again, because we go back to if our wives see us the way that God created us, then she's seeing what I should be and then being frustrated that I'm not. So yeah, proud that she's able to manage that, but annoyed and frustrated because that's not her job. She should not be doing it.
Yeah. So my wife, again, however long ago, there was a time where she would kind of joke about how she was the boss and yada yada, but internally in our four walls, she fucking hated it.
Hmm.
She
Yeah.
hated it. And now she's the kind of woman who would be like, if she was talking to another group of wives, and let's say us men are in one corner A and all the women are in corner B, and they were joking about how they're the boss in their home, she would be like, why would you want to do that? Like, why would I want to? Do you know how free I am that my husband finally has taken over the reins?
Right.
I only say this because if any man thinks their wife enjoys being the quote unquote boss, she really doesn't. You just haven't opened your eyes enough to see that she really does not, and that she's going to be so much more fulfilled living with a man who can take the reins and who she can trust. Because, like you said, these guys have probably dug really deep holes, and just because you throw a little dirt in there, don't mean shit to them.
No.
To
No.
rebuild trust, it's all about consistency over time. And that timeline is up to her and God. That's between those two, not us. And we always want to be in control of that timeline.
Yeah, and remember too, like if you take this mug and you throw it on the ground and it shatters into a million pieces, can it be put back together? Sure, you can glue it back together, but when you look at it, it's going to look different. Okay? Doesn't mean that it can't serve as a cup again still. It doesn't mean that when you pour something in it, it'll spill out. All right? It's not broken, it just looks different. That's the analogy of you start your marriage with a healthy coffee cup. But then you go and fuck something up, like you cheat on your wife, or you steal money, or you whatever, whatever, whatever. Insert anything that guys are dealing with. That means you took this mug and you threw it on the ground and broke it. What most men do is they take like a handful of pieces and they smudge it back together, and then they pour something in it and wonder why it's just pouring out. You haven't even come close to putting that thing together. And guess what? It'll probably never be the same. It'll probably never be the same. Now, you could go 50 years and have a really cool vintage cup, and it could have high value because it's vintage, it's different, it's not perfect, but it's a great cup. It's a great cup. Like my dad's been using this cup for 50 years. That's how cool this is. So your broken cup put back together may not look perfect, but it still could end up being an amazing and cool cup. We try and pour back in the second we start putting that thing back together and wonder why it's like falling all apart still. That's the biggest misconception, or it's the biggest fail for most men when the light goes off and they're like, oh man, I've been a real piece of work and I need to change. And then the moment we change, we think that the fucking red carpet should be rolled out, that we should have a parade, that China and US should just join forces and send all their missiles down Wall Street and parade them around. Look at how good I am. Don't I deserve your love and respect? It's like, nah, actually, no, man, you don't. I don't know what to tell you. I
In
think
your
it's a
in your coaching program, how many guys come to you on week 1 or week 2 and be like, "Dude, I did everything so right, and then my wife kicked my nuts," and I was like, "But look at all the things I did." I mean, how many times I'm sure you've heard that a couple times, at least a
not
dozen.
only have I heard that a couple of times, I've said that a couple of times. I have
I've said
said
that in
that.
the past too.
I
Yeah.
have said that to other people. And, you know, be careful, guys. Don't ever tell your wife, like, well, look at what I've done. Because if you want to play that game, then well, your wife is an elephant. She's got the memory of an elephant. Like,
Yes.
oh, y- oh, so you took the trash out. Or, oh, you made a good financial decision. Let me remind you of all of the negative ones. And it's not because she's trying to like jab you. It's just that she sees the full version of you, and you just by having a good week doesn't mean you've achieved the full version of you. So she's never going to relent on that until you achieve the bigger picture full version. By the way, Jesse, the full version of who you are doesn't mean that you're perfect. It does not mean that you're perfect. It means that when you fuck up and she says something to you and you snap back at her, you go, that is not the way that I should talk to you. I fully apologize. Will you please forgive me? I'm here for you. That's a guy that is his full version of himself, not a fucking baby that says something, she snaps back, and then you take it personally.
Yeah,
Like we
when
can go down the rabbit hole of all these little micro instances, but the fact is that you're not supposed to be perfect. You're just supposed to know who you are so that when you fuck up, you can quickly get back in the driver's seat of who you are. You don't spend a whole bunch of time in the clown sidecar, you know, being a baby about it, for lack of a better term.
yeah, and when we do take out the trash, we do show up, her internally, she's just, "Hey, that's your fucking job as a man. So there
Bottom
you ain't
line.
getting no attaboys, right? You ain't getting no attaboys from me." It took me probably, like, 2 years of me, like, really having my shit together for my wife to be like, "You've been doing awesome."
Yes,
And it was like,
same,
"Holy fuck, I finally got, like, something." And
same.
before that, there would be times where I'd be like, exactly, like, "Look at all the things that I did, and you're getting pissed at me about this because I was immature. Like, I wanted the fucking cheerleaders to come out,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And there was a time where it was like, I'm just freaking like, nose to the grindstone as far as my household goes. And finally was like, you're doing good. Like,
When
yeah,
you get that too, it's like fireworks. It's fireworks. So then you crave that. So then you stay in that lane to continue to get that. Now, once you veer off, because you're going to, you got to get right back in it as quickly as you possibly can. Because we talk to men, like I don't coach women, luckily, right?
yeah.
I coach guys. So I always draw things back to what do guys identify with? Sports is a big one. Do you think that Nick Saban ever once, ever, like in a regular offensive drill, like pulled his starting guard aside and was like, "Hey man, that was a really nice trap. Like you really got your hips in front of that two spot. You turned them the right way. Great job." Or was it like, "Hey, that play worked because everybody did their fucking job." That's what it's supposed to look like. If we call this play and everybody does their job, then the play is supposed to work. And it's not because you're great. It's just because everybody did their job.
Hmm.
So,
Exactly.
so like we'll scream, I'll coach guys that are roll tide. Nick Saban's the greatest thing ever. Man, my wife doesn't congratulate me for everything. I'm like, does Nick Saban congratulate his players for every fucking thing? Or would that be a complete waste of his time? No, what does he do? He gets off in their ass when they fuck one little thing up. Why? Because you know what your job is. If you play for Nick Saban, the expectation is you know how to play football. I don't
Hmm.
have to I don't have to teach you how to play football, right? Your wife is going, "Fuck, dude, you married me. I shouldn't have to teach you how to be a husband." The
Yeah.
expectation is you just know how to play. So when you execute the playbook, I'm not gonna tell you all the good things that you did. We're just gonna celebrate the touchdown. Drive on. We got another series. You got to keep playing. Long game,
Hmm.
you know?
And
So
it's a game that doesn't end.
it never
Yeah.
ends. It never ends. That's why it's equally as important. Football analogy again. If you wake up one Saturday morning and you start off terribly and you throw 3 picks in the first quarter of the game that day, long game, short memory. You're going to have to get back on the field. Your whole team is going to count on you to execute a play, go score, get something on the board so that you can get some momentum in the other direction. Every guy understands sports, and most men live in a marriage where the momentum is just they're getting their teeth kicked in. How do we come back from this? Well, get a first down. How about you just don't score? Who cares about scoring? How about you just get a first down? How about you just get one hit? Just get on first base. Bunt if you have to. Doesn't matter what it is, you know? Whatever, basketball guy, get one shot off that falls. Just keep shooting until you get the one and you hear it hit the back of the net. When I coach kids in soccer, they're little, and I tell them every single time they're doing a drill, finish the drill so you can visualize, you can see what it looks like when the ball hits the back of the net. I don't care if it takes you 20 minutes to finish this drill. I'll fucking wait so that you can see and feel what it feels like the ball to leave your foot, go through the goal, and see the net move. Boom. Now you know what that looks like. Just do that. So, guys will be the first ones to tell you that we like being coached hard. Then our wives coach us hard, and then we just fold and crumble up. Like if we were turtles, we would just fucking in our shell and we would just not come out because we'd be terrified. Yet every guy is going to be like, man, fucking Nick Saban's best fucking coach ever because he coaches them boys hard. Like, well, you need to
Ugh.
be coached hard, buddy. Like that's what your wife is doing. That's what God is doing. He is coaching you hard.
I think men don't like the fact that their women coach them hard because they know every single insecurity, inadequacy, and all their bullshit all wrapped in, and they can never hide from it.
Never.
Never.
Nope. 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 It's like you're 7 and you're playing hide and go seek with a 40-year-old, and you think hiding under the bed where I can see your foot hanging out the end is like a
Mhm.
good hiding spot.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not, dude. I see everything. And so you can't. dude, Jesse, how many times, man, did your wife see you and call you out and you were like, fucking, that's not true? Like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is,
Uh,
man.
oh, fucking, it was a daily thing at one point. It was the
Yep.
regular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
And
always seeing my fucking foot hanging out of under that bed.
yeah, so what should we do in this context of playing hide and go seek? You should learn to hide better. What should you do in your marriage? You should learn to play better, which means you get better at what your job is. If you get better at what your job is, then the insecurities that she knows you have start to dissipate because God actually is moving in your life and he's rewriting the code of who you are. If you let God in your life, man, and I need to drink some of the from my own cup here. If you let God in your life, then he will actually rewrite the code of who you say you are and are not. That way, those insecurities actually go away and then your wife doesn't see them anymore. Y- you've moved on from that. I think that's the evolution of like being a really great husband is that it's not how much you earn and work and all this, it's how much do you let God into your life and actually change and rewrite who you are. Because if you can do that, then all of the like growing up, all the insecurities of not being loved enough, all your mommy issues, all your daddy issues, all of the awful things that ever happened to you, all of that are all reasons why you can be a shitty person. I get it. But when you crack the door open and you let God in, and how do you let God in? Start reading your Bible, start praying, start talking to Him, start obeying what you read. Now you're inviting Him in. When you do that, He'll start to change who you are. And then the insecurities that have plagued you for a lifetime will slowly go away. And then your wife doesn't see them anymore.
Yeah,
So then there's not this weird thing. Like,
and you're a little nicer than I am because I do not like the guys who use the excuses of their upbringing or their trauma. I am more on the shelf of, dude, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm sorry. But in another lifetime, in another day in history, that was just another day for humans. That was just a regular Tuesday. And then they had to live it again. Because in my opinion, it's easier today than ever before to be a husband. And I'm gonna tell you why. You don't have to literally worry about the physical survival, life and death of you and your children on a day to day basis. There's no fucking band of men on the other hill wanting to rape and pillage your fucking community.
yes, I
And
agree.
you have to keep her in an emotional state where she wants to continue to breed and give you more offspring and more sons, right? In another lifetime. We don't have to worry about any of that. It's like society, men have created society that we can do all the things, autonomous driving cars, order anything through our phone. All you have to do is just show up for her. And that's it. Everything else in life is taken care of.
Yeah, how many men do you think have ever had to hunt, trap, snare, catch, clean, cook their own food every day?
None.
None.
It's like, yeah, it's so few, it's an anomaly. So when you round it to this nearest percent, it's zero.
Yeah, I would agree. So I totally agree with what you're saying in terms of it's never been easier to be a husband today. On the flip side, playing devil's advocate, it's also never been harder in that you're going to play the game of comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. Back in the day, men weren't comparing themselves because they didn't have the time to. Now,
Yeah.
what would have happened had they had the time? For us, we have the time to look around. Social media is everyone's highlight reel. You spend a lot of time. There's almost too much information out there. There's almost too much information. So then the world has you overwhelmed. And again, I go back to any conflict or any situation in a man's head where he goes, yeah, but understand. That's an invitation. I think God is inviting us to have the conversation with him and say, I'm really struggling with imposter syndrome or feeling looking at other men and this, that, and God can say, yeah, but I have you under control. You and I can do this together. Right. So again, Jesse, at the end of the day, I fully agree with you that it has never been easier. Now, there's too much information out there. So the way that you block that out is spending intentional time with God. Let him silence the noise around you and speak life into you. Your wife is not going to speak life into you right now. She will eventually. I have seen it. I know that your wife speaks life into you. Mine does as well. But it doesn't start that way. Who's, in your opinion, supposed to speak life into you?
Father.
That is it. Your dad
Yeah.
is supposed to be the one that speaks life into you. That's why we all constantly want approval from our dads, our earthly dads, because we're going, I just want you to be proud of me. I want you to, well, dude, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but
Well,
there's
I can
something
keep
there.
going that you can be the most confident mother effer around when you live your identity in him and you only worry about his opinion,
Yes.
right? You
Yes.
only worry about his opinion. That is so freeing. And you were walking around with that Conor McGregor arm swing,
Mm-hmm.
right? That metaphorically and literally, that nothing is going to bother you externally. And you can show up at your best because you're not worried about the adult report card. Like you talk about the
Yes. Yes.
comparison.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I'm lucky. I'm going to just call it luck because I'm not going to try and own it. I never got caught up in the adult report card on like social media comparing to because I didn't know any of those fucking people. I have one buddy who at 30 years old sold his company for over 30 million bucks, however many years ago. And I watch him. He married the girlfriend he had when me and my wife were just dating. So they are married. The only thing I'm always cheering him on because his Instagram is just those two traveling around the world. But I don't know if he has God. We've kind of drifted a little bit, right? I cheer on his life, but I never compare. Our
Mm-hmm.
lives are different, right? I have the most fulfilled life. Any single person who thinks they have more joy and are more genuinely happy, happiness is fleeting, which is why I'm using the word joy, people. If you feel more fulfilled, um, have more joy, like I would put the fucking Pepsi challenge to any of you guys that you guys don't have a more fulfilling life than I do. And if Elon comes out with a fulfillment meter, I'm the first to sign up and be like, I want to see who can break my record
Mm-hmm. But see,
because it's another level.
You're like that because you're so ingrained on your walk and relationship with your father. That's the only way, guys, to kind of like round this into something practical. None of this stuff matters if you don't know who God is for you. If you haven't tapped into the actual relationship with God, you're missing out. And here's the thing too. I spent yesterday really fucking pissed at God because I feel like, man, God, like I'm doing the things. Like I'm tapped into you and I'm still having a problem. I'm still struggling. You can't you don't get really angry with people that you don't know. I don't know about you, but like I'm not
It's
deeply
not worth the
affected.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Why?
deeply affected by people that I don't know. But man, let me tell you something. Somebody that I say that I love, if they're pissed at me or there's a problem, it deeply affects me. So I was like deeply troubled yesterday. It's kind of spending a lot of time having this prayer, like, fuck God, like, I don't know, man. You keep fucking telling me to do this shit. And I keep doing this shit and I keep having the same fucking problem. And he whispers to me, he's like, you don't trust me. You don't trust me enough. And I'm like, fuck. All
Haven't
right.
fully surrendered in that area.
I have not fully surrendered in that area. And that is, again, I go back to that's the invitation. Any problem, men, that you find yourself having, first of all, if you are intimate with God, then you can be angry with him. You are allowed to be angry and say, what am I missing? What the, you are, I feel sometimes like you're lying to me, God. And then he'll whisper to you and you'll hear it and feel it. And you'll go, nope, I still have work I need to do. That's right. I still have work I need to do. So the trick is to get so intimate with God that you can be angry with him. And then that's when sometimes he'll speak the loudest. Sometimes when I've been the angriest at God is when he speaks the clearest. And he's like, oh, you're angry at me? All right, well, let's have this conversation. And then gently, with so much love and care, he goes, remember that thing? You haven't trusted me enough yet. You don't trust me enough. And I go, fuck, you're right. So guys, figure out the way that you get intimately involved with the God of heaven and earth so that when you find yourself in a sticky situation, you might get angry at God. You know him enough. Your voices are, you have heard each other enough and he's been involved in your life enough that you go, man, what the fuck? Like, you told me this and it's not happening. And he can say to you, you heard half the conversation. I told you to do this. You didn't do that. And now you're struggling. And it's like I look at myself in the mirror. I did yesterday and I was like, fuck,
Mhm.
I'm not listening.
We talked about this last week, but offline. When you read Psalms and everything that King David has written,
Mm,
he has a very, very close, intimate relationship with God.
very.
The way those conversations go, man, they are close. And that is one of the things that we should be striving for. Like, do we have the same conversations that David does? If not, like, we got to do better. And how do we do better? Build rapport, right? How do you suggest, man, build rapport with God? Because I have my two. Mine is be in the word and prayer.
Yeah. I would say the same, maybe with a different flavor, right? Like, I don't when we say be in the word, I don't mean a devotional. I don't mean
Same.
read. I don't mean pick up like the number one best-selling men's daily devotional. That's not what I'm saying. I mean like read fucking Leviticus, bro.
Do you do
Wha
devotionals?
I don't. I don't
I
have a
don't
single
either. I've never done
I
one.
actually but I take that back. I do have one. The only reason I have this one is because there was a dark time in my life when I was sitting in my corporate car and my boss said I could use my corporate card to go buy like a book. And I bought this devotional and it's got a receipt that I bought it from like 6 months before my life completely fell apart. That's the only reason I have that devotional. It's called Think Like Jesus. It's kind of cool. The only reason it's cool now to me is because that is like, it's like eating a really good steak with like some really nice seasoned potatoes. Normally, I just eat steak. Fuck it. I don't need any of the other shit. Like that other shit doesn't do anything for me. Although every now and again, if somebody cooks really nice roasted potatoes, that's actually nice to have with my steak. It tastes good. That's what that devotional is. Getting in the word means reading the Bible. And I don't give a fuck how hard it is for you. I don't care that you don't get it. You don't get it because you haven't done it enough. Okay. I've said all the same stuff like, well, it's really hard to read the Bible. It's hard to read the Bible when you're so full of shit and you won't like let it do its job. It is hard. It is. So my 2 ways are the same as your 2 ways. Read the Bible and go back to what we just talked about. Read Psalms. Just read Psalms. It's quick. One a day. You'll get the habit down. There's 150 of them. That means 150 days in a row. You can commit yourself to reading the Bible. It'll catch on. The habit will catch on. So you read the Bible. And then when you get to that place, then start praying and asking God, what do you want from me? Stop taking your fucking nonsense and your bullshit to God and going, will you bless this? I'm going to do this dumbass thing. Will you bless it? No. How about read the Bible and then go, God, I am broken. without you. I can do nothing. I can't make simple decisions without you. So completely take over my life and tell me what you want me to do. What did you create me for? And then when he tells you, fucking do it. That's how you can get really intimately close with God so that 5 years down the road, when you catch a snag or a snafu in your marriage and your wife is giving you some flack, you can get really fucking pissed off at God. And he can remind you, like, I love you, bud, and you've done really great. And I'm so happy we're so close. But this one area, look behind, look, there's a quarter behind your ear. See that? Here, go get rid of that. It's like, oh shit, I didn't even know that was there. I forgot. I didn't feel that, you know? So that's my take, my 2 cents. Spend copious amounts of time in scripture and praying over it, man. Like, what is he trying to, he's talking to you in here. So don't you want to ask him what he's saying? That's what prayer is. What are you saying? Like, don't you think, how many guys do you coach that they have this weird misconception about prayer that they get like really like stirred up about it. They like put their hands a certain way and it's like, oh Lord, thank you, God, for all. Shut the fuck up, dude. Like, that's not how you talk to people. Like, how about like, hey God, I'm really in a shitstorm right now and I fucking need you because I'm struggling and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's when you get to the point where you're just having natural conversation with God, you're probably intimate.
Yeah. I get I get men who say it will be awkward to pray with their wife, or the prayers that they do, they'll be like, I read my daily devotional, and it's like you're just deflecting and you're avoiding.
Mm,
I asked you if you pray or if you pray over your wife and you're not actually answering the question, when all you have to do is say, no, I don't do any of that. Instead, you want to beat around the bush of these like little things that you do that aren't what I'm asking you. You know, they're somewhat related, but it's not it. And the whole prayer, right? They'll get, well, I don't know what to say. And it's like, what do you mean you don't know what to say? Like you said, just talk to him like he's a person. All right. He's going to know where your heart posture is at the beginning, that you're a little nervous, that you're new, that you don't know him. It's just like going up to the first time you went up to your wife, you didn't fucking know her, probably stumbled a couple times, bit your tongue,
uh-huh.
right? Looked like a goofball. She wasn't interested. But guess what? You talked to her again and you did a little bit better. And then by the third time, you finally got her number.
That's it.
It's the same thing. It's not rocket science. He doesn't expect perfection. Nowhere in the Bible does he expect perfection. He just works with broken men, which only tells me we all apply. If
Oh,
he only worked with Hercules, if every story was fucking Hercules, he picked Hercules, then we could all be like, well, yeah, we don't meet the mark. But he does the opposite.
mhm.
Even
Yeah,
Jesus,
and thankfully.
everyone he picked, right? Like, from a 2026 societal thing, they're all a bunch of fucking dorks and dweebs, you know? And then he's like, but I'm going to turn these guys into stone cold killers. And it's what he did. So we all can meet the standard
Yeah,
to build a relationship with him.
I agree, man. And I think any insinuation otherwise is a total, like you said, deflection. Mm. My favorite is guys that have no intimacy with God and have no idea who he is, telling me who God is and
Yeah.
what intimacy looks like. How about no? Okay.
See,
If
actually,
it,
keep going.
oh, go ahead. No, no, no. Go,
I was going to
go.
say, actually, I don't ever cross that, because I don't know if it's the you dealing with that on social media, but all the guys I work with personally, I just don't work with the guy who's not a believer. So then there's no opinion on who he is. Or if I ever get the one guy, I'm like, that's no, you're wrong. You haven't read your Bible, bud. But I haven't come across that, but I've seen you talk about it. So I want to hear a little bit more.
Well, I think that for me, the most of the time is it's battling with other Christians. It's really battling other believers, right? Guys that go to church, they put the pastor's tit in their mouth and they go,
Yeah.
And then they go back home and they cuss out their wives because, they're asking them to do something when it's the football game's on. Like, those are the guys that I battle the most. And they're the ones that are going to tell me, when I say something like, hey, if you're going to listen to secular music, it's okay for you to love Jesus. You can do both of those things at the same time. Why is that important? Because it's not for the fucking guy who's been in his Bible 10 years. If you're in your Bible for 10 years and secular music doesn't rub you the wrong way, you're probably doing something wrong. What I'm saying is for the new guy who's like sniffing around the idea of whether he's going to figure out who God is, if that guy is going to listen to some trap music, but still turn his heart on to God and love Jesus, you're allowed to do that. Now, what happens? I get a bunch of Christians speaking their Christianese to me saying, you actually can't do that. If it's not convicting you of, and I'm like, you don't know, you are not very intimate, in my opinion, with God, because you would understand what I'm trying to say. Then I say something like, God doesn't categorize sin. It's really clear in scripture. He doesn't say like, in his commandments, it's like, all right, the top 3 are the fucking don't fuck around with this. The other 7 are like, it's hit or miss. I put them in the funnels and I'll see you at the pearly gates and I'll fuck you up on sight based on what you did. And I get guys that are misquoting scripture saying, actually, that's not true. And I'm thinking to myself, so you think that if you murder somebody or you lie to your wife, that God's going to look at that any differently? You're separating yourself from him. So anyways, long story short, yeah, the big thing is I get Christian men that actually don't have any intimacy with God telling me what intimacy with God is supposed to look like. They're telling me based on what it's supposed to look like. I'm telling you what it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a problem. And again, that I think, Jesse, to me, all that is ego. It's, do you want to be right or do you want to get it right? And I spent a lifetime wanting to just be right. I didn't really give a shit. I just want to be right. I want to win arguments. I want to win. And the more I got convicted only by reading the Bible, the more I understood, like, man, hold on. I don't want to just be right. I want to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
What's it look like to get it right? I think a lot of humility, and a lot of devoted time in the word, being intimate with God and letting him work on my life. I don't struggle with the things that I talk about on social media. Other men do. That's why I talk about them, so that I can help you bridge the gap. Like, hey dude, I don't struggle with pornography anymore. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with other things. I don't struggle with pornography anymore. So I can help you figure that out because I know how I did it.
Yeah.
Other guys go, you shouldn't struggle with porn. And then their search history looks like a crime scene investigation because they've not figured it out. They're just telling you what the pastor's tit told them. Right? So that, I think, is a really big problem. I think guys need to stop. It's the biggest picture of all. It's the same thing we do with our wives. Stop hoping and relying on every fucking buddy else to be your source of life and knowledge and information when God is wanting to do that for you. And if you'll put him in the driver's seat, man, all the other shit will fall into place. But yet we put our wives in the driver's seat, our pastors, and we expect the pastor to be the one to connect me to God and my wife to be the one to fulfill me and sustain me and love me. And like, that's not it. That's not the way it works.
Yeah, I'm going to add a little fuel to your fire. Second most consistent DM that I get, and I'm in a close second, is from women saying that their husbands are Christians in Bible study, position in the church, and they're dirtbags.
I don't get that a lot.
Well, my following is a lot more women than your following, though.
Yes, I would.
So that's
I would
why
agree.
I get that.
Yep.
And I'm like, fuck, there's nothing I can do because they ain't going to want to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
That
it's
guy
one
doesn't want to
that I
talk
get a
to you.
lot. They don't want to talk to me. No.
They don't. They don't. And there are times when I get DMs from dudes that'll say like, man, they start rattling off like, what their problems are. And I'm like, hey, man, are you in a place where you want me to be really honest with you? Yeah, man. And I lay it out there. I'm like, fucking, it ain't her, dude. It's you. And I don't know what to tell you. And it's not your pastor, it's you. It's not your boss, it's you. It's not your wife, it's you. It's, you know, that's a very uncomfortable thing for guys. Um, because our egos are just so built up and ingrained and entrenched. And you know, the other thing too, Jesse, is like our egos are big because all guys do go around is lying to each other. Like
Yeah. And then they
most guys,
say iron sharpens iron, bro.
oh, oh, it's like
uh,
if I went to Bill and I said to him, you know, Jade's just been really fucking hard on me. He's like, well, what'd you do? What's your problem? Not, yeah, man, she's a bitch, dude. You deserve better. Like, that's the conversation that most men have.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you're right. And they're like, yeah, iron sharpens iron, bro. Like, I'm in the battlefield with you. I'm on the front lines. It's like, oh my God, you have no truth tellers around you. You
Exactly.
have nobody that knows what they're talking about going, hey, you're wrong.
Out of 1 out of 10 guys who I'll do a call with, complimentary call, and I'm like, dude, you realize that you just suck at being a man.
Yeah.
1 out of 10 actually sign up.
Because most men don't want to be coached hard.
The
So
other
shut the
ones are
fuck
like,
up.
yeah, this isn't for me. Or they don't tell me that. They just end up ghosting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but there was that one guy who's like, I know my wife tells me that. So this is why I'm here. And I'm like, fucking let's go.
Yep.
Let's
Yep.
do this.
And I think, you know, the biggest call out for us today, I think the biggest impression that I want to make on men is like, stop with the fucking fake talk. Like, stop with like the projection. Stop telling everybody that, you know, the reason you like Alabama is because Nick Saban's such a hard coach and he coaches them hard. If that's who you like, then why are you so bent out of shape when somebody wants to coach you hard? Stop. Damn, dude, just stop lying about everything. Like honestly, everything. Men are just so full of shit. And the only reason I can say that is because I am and was. So I know I'm like Chris Farley in Tommy Boy when I'm leaning up against the bus and I'm like, I know from experience, dude. It's like I'm I know that you're full of shit, dude, because I was full of shit. And the only reason it got better for me is because I got real honest with myself and I allowed other men to speak truth about who I was and I wasn't offended by it. Instead, I was like, okay, if that's true, if I'm selfish and I'm a dirtbag and I have dropped the ball, how do I pick it back up and run in the right direction? See, because that's the follow on. If you can find men in your life that'll tell you the truth and that actually live the way that they say they do, the beautiful part of the conversation is the front end of it's really hard to hear where you failed. But the back half of it is now give me instruction.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'll go back to this last analogy, then I'll stop talking. When Nick Saban gets a guy who's got a lot of raw potential and he first practice, the guy's out there just doing all the things as hard as he can. And Nick comes over and he goes, all right, look, check it out. Every fucking thing you just did was wrong. Your timing is off. Your hips turned the wrong way. You opened up the wrong direction. You were slow out of your break. Your hands were in the wrong spot. You're out of position. Okay, that really is hard to hear. Then what he does is he goes, okay, but now if you plant with your back foot first, and if you are strong in your hips, and if you're this and you watch film, so what is he doing? What is he saying? He's telling you all of the things that you need to do to correct your bad behavior. Good. Go find a fucking guy that has corrected his bad behavior and then let him tell you where you're wrong and then how to make it right.
Yeah. And
Now we're in business, baby.
I
Right? Because you want to know how to fix it, not just that I'm wrong.
yeah. And you're going to be lucky if you got guys who will do that. Because if you don't, now you're just going in blind.
You have to find them.
Yeah,
That's why we have a job. That's why you and I have a job. That's why Bill has a job. That's why Teddy has a job. There is a vacuum of leadership, biblical leadership in this country. So men are failing, and either A, no one's telling them that they're failing, or when they're being told they're failing, they're not getting instruction on how to not fail anymore. Right? Because women are not equipped. Women, wives, are probably the only ones in most men's lives that'll tell them that they're failing. They're just not equipped on, well, how to fix it.
exactly. You don't go and ask a fish how you catch a fish. You ask a fisherman.
Exactly right. So
And that's what it is. Like, she knows that you ain't doing it right, but she doesn't know what you're supposed. She can't coach you through it.
if I'm watching a hockey game and one team is scoring like 40 goals in a hockey game, I know that the other team is not doing something right.
Yeah,
However, I cannot coach you because I don't have the wherewithal to tell you, well, your line changes are slow, or you're out of position, or you whatever. I don't know hockey like that. Your wife can look at you and go, you're fucking down 100-0, bro. I don't know what to do right, but I can tell you that you're all fucked up.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So then if that's true, then Jesse, why are men not actively seeking out somebody to tell them how to do it right?
Pride, because they don't want anyone to know that in their own house they ain't shit. Right? No man wants anyone to know that they fucking suck at life inside their house. And like on the outside, they may have the Tesla and they may have the good job, the career, the money, the kids in sports, but their wife doesn't want to fuck them to save her own life.
It's like walking around with your credit score on your chest. Nobody wants to do that, right? Ooh, like, ooh, why is your score so low, dude? Like, ugh. Nobody wants to be told. No man wants to be told by anybody or tell anybody for that matter, hey man, I'm really failing. I'm really failing. The only time I ever felt comfortable enough to do that is when I was around men that I looked at their life and I said, they've got something that I want.
Yeah.
So that's a big tell, Jesse. There are not enough men walking around where other men go, "Hey, man, what's that guy doing over there?" Because his wife loves him and respects him. His kids really love him, but he's not a billionaire, so he didn't buy their love. He had
Uh-huh.
to earn it
Yep.
because they don't have a lot of money. They just live like a. There's not enough of those guys that are just really fucking content and happy with what they have because God is just their eternal source of joy.
Yeah. And I want to give these guys who are too prideful to reach out to another man. Let me give them a pro tip. Guys like myself, Adam, and Bill can sniff your shit out. We know just by meeting you in 30 seconds, you and your wife, it's like, yeah, the relationship sucks. That guy's miserable. She's miserable. She's just wants to be around other humans right now. Right? You're trying to suck energy from us. You're trying to take from our cup. You're not worth, you don't have anything to pour into anyone else. So you might as well go and be like, hey, I know you guys can already smell it because I rank, right? I freaking stink to high heaven, or however that saying goes. But reach out to somebody.
Yeah. And that's why I don't do this for a living just so I can like make fun of dudes.
No, dude,
You
I
know what I
feel
mean? Like,
for them. I like genuinely feel bad for the guys and their wives and their kids.
yeah, and like I want more dudes to experience the freedom that comes with knowing who God is. That's it. That's really all it is. If you know God and you trust him and you're reading the word, man, because life is gonna be hard either way. Like, is it not hard right now in your house to maintain the marriage that you have? it takes a lot of work. It takes Jesse dying to Jesse all the time. So it's always going to be hard. Our jobs are to convince men to do it this hard way. Don't do it that hard way. Do it. I want to welcome you into doing it this hard way, because at the end of this hard life is eternal life in the kingdom of heaven with the creator of all of it. An eternity spent in the best possible life you ever imagined, eternity. So I want to invite you to do it this kind of hard, because my true belief is, and I can only say this because I'm living parts of it. The more that I have trusted God, the better my life gets.
Yes.
There's a direct correlation. The more I trust God and I invite him into my life and I allow him to chip away the exterior rock around the statue of David that Michelangelo was just removing. He said, I didn't do anything great. I just removed all the rock that wasn't David. And then I was left with the statue of David. Invite God into my life more to do that. Bro, your life will get infinitely better. And you'll start to see this like pattern where the more you trust him, the more he's going to reveal to you the life that he designed for you. And it's great. It comes with a great marriage and a great relationship with your kids and a great relationship with money and a great relationship with sex and all of the amazing things that God has created. They're all designed to be used for good if you trust him and if you do the work and if you read your Bible and obey what it says. Man, your life, the picture of it is just insane. It's insane. So this is an invitation for men to trust what they're hearing right now, because they're listening to this for a reason. Their spidey senses going off, and we're trying to tell them, hey man, I just want you to sit at the table for a little bit and hear what I'm trying to tell you, and know that I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm going to expose all the areas in your life that are total bullshit. But then I'm going to give you a playbook. And if you follow the playbook and you watch your film and you lift hard in the gym and you practice what you're supposed to be doing, when it comes game time, you're going to be a fucking All-American, bro. You're going to be a first-round draft pick. Teams are going to be clamoring to get to you. They will be tripping over themselves to pay you hundreds of millions of dollars. What does that look like in real life? Your wife is going to be falling over herself to prop you up and tell other people how amazing you are. And opportunities that you've chased for a lifetime are going to fall into your lap so fucking much that you're going to have to say no to a lot of them. And your kids are going to adore you. And 20 years from now, they're going to be sitting around a table full of their buddies going, I want to do it just like my dad. I don't know about you guys, and I've heard you bitch about your dads and how shitty they are, but I, for one, am going to do it just like my old man. That's the kind of shit that I'm telling you is going to happen in your life if you'll just trust what God wants to do.